Hey, second graders, welcome to our Wednesday math lesson. We're going to start by reviewing the three types of patterns that we've learned so far. So, the first type of pattern we've learned, it starts with re. Do you remember what it is? It's a repeating pattern. It's a repeating pattern. And remember, a repeating pattern is where the same sequence is repeated over and over again. We have another type of pattern. It starts with grr. Do you remember what the second type of pattern we've learned about is? A growing pattern. A growing pattern. And a growing pattern increases as it goes, right? It gets bigger or it gets larger. And we have another type of pattern we've learned about. It's a shrinking pattern. And shrinking patterns get smaller as they go. So, I have another question for you, another review question for you. What does the plus sign mean? If there's a plus sign in front of a rule, so if it says rule and it says plus and a number, what does that mean? What type of pattern would that be if there's a plus sign? A growing pattern, right? It's a growing pattern. And what if there is a minus sign or a subtraction sign? What kind of a pattern would that be? A shrinking pattern, right? All right. We are going to go over some more practice examples because we've talked about patterns quite a bit, but it still can be confusing to know what kind or which is which, I guess. So I am going to put a pattern on the board, and while I'm doing it, I want you to see if you know the kind of pattern it is. So what type of pattern, repeating, shrinking, or growing, and what would come next, okay? So you're going to tell me, is it repeating, shrinking, or growing? And what comes next? Okay, here we go. Here we go. So we have triangle, heart, heart, circle. Triangle, heart, heart, circle. What type of pattern is this? I'm going to give you the answer, but give yourself a second to pause the video and tell me, before I tell you, what kind of pattern is this? Repeating, shrinking, or growing? Pause the video. All right, welcome back. If you said it's a repeating pattern, you are correct. It is a repeating pattern. Triangle, heart, heart, circle is repeating. So what would come next? We have triangle, heart, heart, circle. Triangle, heart, heart, circle. What shape would come next? Triangle. Yes, triangle would come next. Okay, next pattern example. What type of pattern is this? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Is it repeating? Is it shrinking? Or is it growing? The numbers are getting larger, right? So it would be a growing pattern. Yes, it would be a growing pattern. What number would come next? 12. 12 would come next because we're just adding 2 every time, right? So our rule would be plus 2. Plus 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 4 plus 2 equals 6. 6 plus 2 equals 8. 8 plus 2 equals 10, and 10 plus 2 equals 12. Okay, next up. Here we go. We have the number 100. We have the number 90, 80, 70, 60. What type of pattern is this? Is it repeating, shrinking, or growing? What do you notice about the numbers? They're getting smaller, so it is a shrinking pattern. It is a shrinking pattern. What number would come next? 50, right? Because each time we are subtracting 10, our rule is minus 10. 100 minus 10 equals 90. 90 minus 10 equals 80. 80 minus 10 equals 70. 70 minus 10 equals 60. 60 minus 10 equals 50. Okay. Now, next up. What type of pattern is this? There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 dots, 8 dots, 6 dots. What type of pattern is this? Repeating, shrinking, or growing? It is a shrinking pattern. The numbers are getting smaller each time. It is shrinking. We have 10, 8, 6. What will come next? We have to subtract each time, right? 10 minus what is 8? 10 minus 2. And if you look, hope you can see this okay. If you look, it's like we're cutting off these two. We're subtracting these two. And then we're subtracting these two. Each time, 2 is being subtracted. So our rule is minus 2. It is a shrinking pattern. The numbers are decreasing. Okay, I want you to take a second and stretch a little bit, shake your body out, move around a little. If you want to pause the video for 30 seconds and then come back, you can. Just don't forget to come back. We're going to do a few more problems. Shake your body out. Alrighty. Welcome back. If you took a movement break, it's always a great idea to take movement breaks. All right, now I am going to tell you a rule, and I want you to tell me what type of pattern it is. If the rule is plus 9, rule is plus 9, what type of pattern is it? Plus 9. It would be a growing pattern. Yes, growing pattern. Okay, now we have a new rule. The new rule is minus 241. Minus 241. What kind of pattern is it? It would be a shrinking pattern. Shrinking. How do you know? What gives it away? That minus sign. Yeah. Okay. Now, here we go. I'm going to put some numbers down here. We have the number 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And then we have a blank right here. What is the rule? What would the rule be? Let's start by just talking here quickly. So when I wrote the numbers, I wrote them from left to right, just like you read a book. So the arrows, even if the arrows aren't written down, you know the arrows are going this direction, okay? Are the numbers getting bigger as we go or smaller? They're getting bigger. So what operation is it, plus or minus? It would be plus. 4 plus what equals 8? We can just use our fingers. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 plus 4. Okay? And then 8 plus 4. Does 8 plus 4 equal 12? 12 plus 4, does that equal 16? 16 plus 4, does 16 plus 4 equal 20? Yes. All right, what I want you to do is I'm going to have you pause the video and then come back. I want you to think what number would come after 20, and then I want you to think what number would come before the number 4. Take a second to pause the video, find those 2 answers, and then come back so we can chat. Welcome back. Okay, now after 20, we would have to add 4, right? 20 plus 4 equals 24. And for the number before 4, we would have to do that inverse operation like yesterday to figure it out because we're going backwards. So we would have to subtract 4 minus 4. 4 minus 4 equals 0. Now, if you had these wrong, that's okay. Especially this one. This one's tricky. This one's challenging. If we were in the classroom, you'd be able to ask your question, no problem. But it's a little harder with distance learning. But if you are confused at all about how I got 0, you can always ask me through Seesaw and just say, Miss Wenninger, I was confused about that. And then I can help explain it to you, okay? Our rule would be plus, it's plus 4. All right, we are going to do one more problem. One more practice problem. Here we go. Okay. Oops. 25. 20. 15. 10. What kind of pattern is this? What's happening to the numbers as we move to the right? They are getting smaller, so it's a shrinking pattern, And what would our rule be? It's getting smaller, so we know it's subtraction. What are we subtracting each time? 25 minus what is 20? 25 minus 5. 25 minus 5 equals 20. 20 minus 5 equals 15. 15 minus 5 equals 10. So our rule is minus 5. Okay, I need you to find which number goes after 10 and which number would come before 25. Use the rule, use what we know to find what number would come after 10 and what number would come before 25. I want you to pause the video and then come back. All right, welcome back. I hope you paused the video. If you didn't, it's really important you pause the video and do that thinking so that you're able to learn from these videos. If you just let me keep talking and talking and you don't stop and try to figure out answers to math problems, it's really hard to learn. So I really hope that you're pausing videos when I say to pause the videos and that you always come back. Okay, we're at 10 here. What number would come after 10? 10, what operation? Minus 5. 10 minus 5. 10 minus 5 equals 5. Did you get that? If you did, pat yourself on the back. Nice work. Now, we have to figure out what number comes before 25. And remember, to do that, we have to use the inverse operation. We have to do the opposite of the rule. Well, the rule's minus 5. What's the opposite of minus? Make a plus sign with your fingers. Plus, addition. So we would have to do 25 plus 5. And 25 plus 5 equals 30. Did you get 30? If you did, that's great. Pat yourself on the back. If you didn't and now you understand why, pat yourself on the back too. And if you didn't get 30 and you are going to ask me for help through Seesaw, pat yourself on the back with 2 hands. That's really great. That's what learners do. You ask for help if you need it. Okay, so 2nd graders, I'm going to send you a few different activities to continue practicing with our frames and arrows, using the rule to find out what numbers come before, what numbers come after in patterns. So I look forward to seeing your work on Seesaw, and make sure you ask questions if you need help.